Hey guys, it's Zangetsu 134 here, and I'm bringing you, after a long time, a DuckTales episode review. And this is episode 9, The Impossible Summit of Mount Everest. Which. Alright, so in this episode, Scrooge, the kids in the launch pad, are trying to climb the impossible summit of Mount Everest. As they keep going up, they uncover the mysteries of Mount Everest, while Launchpad gets delirious with ice fever and wanders around the sauna with Louie. This episode starts out kind of like like the episode with the episode of the House of Lucky Gander, in that Scrooge is trying to get to a legendary place on the planet to see some legendary thing, and it turns out there's now a tourist trap there, which this show really loves doing that, where like Scrooge tries to find some place that hasn't been discovered and it's a tourist trap. I will admit that's kind of silly, but yeah, this one it works because it's only really like at the bottom of Mount Everest, or at like the bottom, like where they are at the slope, because clearly the mountain is really large, but they're kind of like at like a place where like it's normal, or like the middle of it, since they had to fly there with Launchpad. And also we also have Launchpad getting conned by some dude and thinking he has ice fever, and getting separated from the group and ending up thinking he's got the stages of ice fever when really he's at a sauna. That part was really funny. I loved like you would see him like, oh, I must stay warm. And then, like the next second he's in a jacuzzi. Like it was really funny. And I really liked him and Louie, like especially with Louie like conning the guy who conned Launchpad, because no one cons his family but him. And we also find out that Scrooge had actually been here before. They kind of subtly implied at the beginning, but when you get to the halfway point, they finally say, yeah, he was this guy called the Neverest Ninny, who went up with this famous climber whose body they find. They find his like dead, decomposed body, like nothing but bones. I'm like, it's really dark. But like, and basically he went up with him, but he refused to lighten his load. Basically Scrooge did the sensible thing, and it ended up costing getting cut from the Explorer, and he had to go back down the way he came instead of going up to the top. But the guy never actually made it to the top, but he did make it farther than anyone else ever had. And basically, Scrooge comes to a head with Huey, who is trying to be sensible about the whole thing, even though he wants to get his Junior Woodchuck's cartography badge. Sorry, that's dry weather. He wants to get his cartography badge, but he realizes that they're losing. They had to lose supplies to get up as far as they did. Scrooge is basically obsessed with climbing to the top to prove he's not a ninny, and the two of them basically spend most of the fight arguing, while Dewey and Webby want to get to the very top of Mount Everest and sled down the mountain, which was kind of hilarious because like Webby keeps trying to they keep getting further and further up, and Webby's like, now? And Dewey's like, no, you gotta wait for the maximum opportunity. And it's like, and poor Webby just wants to sled to the point where basically like she gets to the top, and then they have to sled back down after they cause an avalanche at the end of the episode. And then she's like, oh, is that sledding? Meh. I guess when like you fought like mummies and like the Beagle Boys on a regular basis, sledding's kind of benign, especially if even though you go from like the top of the tallest mountain in the world. But yeah, I really like the character stuff with Scrooge and Huey. It was just kind of nice because Huey's kind of the one that we really don't get a lot of character out of, other than he's the most straight-laced of the three brothers. Really, because Dewey and Louie have had really the most character development. That of Louie learning to be less of a con artist and actually like work for stuff and improve himself. Dewey with the subject of trying to find out what happened to their mother, which they've really not done much with. But I mean, to be fair, they kind of imply that this episode's a Christmas episode. So like, I guess really this is just kind of like a Christmas special to kind of like be like a mid-season break. And so I basically guessed that this was basically a Christmas episode. We're not playing a video game. This is a Christmas themed episode. Mostly just because of the fact that it takes place in the winter. So, you'll see this episode played a lot as the series is on the air during Christmas time. But yeah, Huey really hasn't had much. We really just usually have him as like a joke, like, oh, Junior Woodchuck Guidebook says this, Junior Woodchuck Guidebook says this. But here it actually kind of it helps because I think he acts as a conscience for Scrooge. And to be fair, I'm sure a lot of people will complain about how Scrooge is much more level-headed in this show, like, as an adventurer. But to be fair, this is pretty true of Scrooge. If he's trying to fix one of his own failures, he becomes obsessed with doing so until he proves he isn't. And here, he doesn't want to be called the ninny of Neverest for the next 75 years after, like, after being, like, after climbing all the way he did 75 years ago. So it shows that while Scrooge is definitely level-headed and definitely the smartest of the group, he can still be flawed, He can still be pushed by his greed in ways other than wanting money. That of, being driven in the wrong ways. But yeah, I really like this episode, and I like especially when they get to the top and they show why exactly no one can get to the top. And that's because due to like either some sort of mystical energy or just something in the rocks itself creating like a reaction, the place has a giant wormhole system all over the mountain. Basically, like, due to the fog, you can't see it, but every time like they would go into the fog, portals would warp them all over the mountain. And it was actually kind of cool, especially with the fact that it actually lets them shortcut around the mountain after they realize what's going on. And I thought that was a really neat idea, that of like, kind of like playing up like how like, because this mountain is clearly based on Everest, how some people have said that Everest has strange mystical properties to it. Granted, even though we've had people climb to the top of Everest and have proven like that it is possible to climb it, it's just a really long climb, especially because you have to rest for periods, to get used to the altitude, so you don't get I can't think of what it is. Like, it's in fact, it's probably what ice fever is based on, where basically like you don't acclimate to the air pressure, and you get like, basically you get like a disease that exposure. You basically get exposure because your body can't handle the little amount of oxygen, and the fact that there is bacteria and stuff that is up there that basically can only survive in high areas and that kind of climate. But yeah, I thought it was kind of a neat episode, and I definitely think it was a pretty good Christmassy, wintry themed episode. It really wasn't Christmassy other than the fact that they were, like, Louis says, I can't believe we're up on this stupid mountain instead of like spending Christmas in the manor. And Scrooge makes a reference to that, like him and Santa have a beef with each other, which, knowing Scrooge, that doesn't surprise me. This is Scrooge McDuck we're talking about. He probably has proven Santa's real, but no one believes him. So, I await a Christmas episode where Scrooge has to fight Santa. But yeah, otherwise, it's not a bad episode. It's pretty much like just an adventure episode. I think this kind of also further proves the point that a lot of this season has been like shuffled around because of the fact that we will go episode after episode without having like the main plot, like that of what's with Delia Duck, the deal with Webby's friend whose name is escaping me at the moment because I haven't watched this show in forever. I think the last episode I watched was in like November. It's been like a month. And I feel bad that I kind of missed that this episode came out. I'm gonna try and be a little bit more better at figuring out when the next episodes of this show is. But I'm guessing that this is probably going to be it for a while. That we probably won't get we won't get new episodes into the spring or until after Christmas. But in the meantime, I will still have Kamen Rider reviews up because, Christmas is not is such a big deal in Japan. Although we will probably get a Christmas themed episode because I think almost every Rider series since Double has had Christmas episodes. Actually, no. In the case of Double, it only had Christmas themes in the movie, since they had a character that was basically Santa. Not even kidding. Kamen Rider Double had a character that pretended he was Santa named Santa-chan that would sometimes give them gifts or hints on the mystery of the. Now I'm assuming that my audience knows what Kamen Rider Double is. Kamen Rider Double is a detective themed series, where basically they solved mysteries, but acted like they were 30 style noir detectives. So yeah, I got off track there. But yeah, the Kamen Rider episodes will keep coming. And so, yeah, they will keep coming. If there is new episodes of DuckTales, which I don't think so, because I feel like this is gonna be the last one for the year. But if I do see that there are episodes, I will watch them. I like this show. But like I said, I mostly started this after my Garo vlogs, after I had trouble finding ways to watch the rest of the series. I will try to figure out. I think I'm gonna try more next year to figure out a way to get back to watching Garo, and it'll become a side series that I will watch every once in a while. But until then, guys, look forward to the next episode of Kamen Rider Build next week, and I will catch you guys next week. Until then, take care.